Many fans hoped Nathan and Elizabeth would be married if not engaged by the end of the season. They'd supported each other through personal and family crises, and Elizabeth finally told Nathan she loved him. Perhaps they'd passed the awkward courting stage and moved straight to the relationship stage. On a romantic picnic, the two flirt about their mysterious ways and agree to share secrets about each other. After all these years, what do they know about one another? Fiona came in to surprise Mai. That's an unexpected treat, and hopefully she'll stay. Mai, Faith, and Fiona are so entertaining together. When Calls the Heart Season 11 Episode 12's wedding proceeded smoothly with only a few minor hitches. I thought it would be a rather joyous affair, indeed it was, but it also left some unanticipated and poignant loose ends. When Calls the Heart Season 11's writing has been disorganized and disjointed. Lucas, Elizabeth, and Nathan have endured the most hardships. With such a large ensemble, many supporting characters haven't received enough attention though. For the audience to get more engaged, Mike and Mai's trip to the altar ought to have received more time. Mike was worried that by breaking convention, they would curse the proposal and the wedding planning since everything felt hurried. I adored Mike's desire for Fiona to support him. It wasn't typical a century ago for weddings to have a best woman, but it is at many nowadays. When Mai's brother wrote to say he couldn't make it to the wedding, poor Mike felt he had ruined the wedding by not getting Mai a good ring. These kinds of TV programs are rather formulaic. It was very evident that Mike had gone to get Mai's brother and returned with him when he suddenly vanished. This wedding would take place, even if Mai had to make her anxious bride lose her mind. The way Mike presented Mai's brother and the surprise fanfare with the Chinese instruments were charming. Mike made another proposal. Without exaggeration, Mai, you are the most breathtaking thing I have ever seen. Since Mai valued her family's traditions so highly, it was very crucial to preserve them throughout the wedding. This short wedding was made wonderful by the small details, including the floating lanterns, her brother's additions to the mouth-watering cake Minnie created, and Lee and Fiona's heartfelt toasts. As the season came to a close, Elizabeth and Nathan once more switched roles between being adult and immature. Elizabeth and Nathan didn't have to rush into telling everyone, aside from their kids, that they were a couple, even though they were thrilled to be dating. When Lucas was handling his own problems, there was no need to gloat over the news to her or reveal it to him. As they attempted to plan a romantic picnic, which Jack had invited himself, they were charming and flirtatious. The looks on the kids' faces were hilarious. Ollie had been rooting for them to get together for years, so she was quite happy. Jack liked being a member of the family, even though he was too young to appreciate the romantic aspect. Elizabeth didn't take the game seriously, but she did think that sharing secrets would be interesting. When Nathan was ready to give over his soul, she related an embarrassing anecdote from her early years. They were in two different worlds, but at last they could talk about their history in depth, and she didn't hold him responsible for Jack's death. It appeared as though they were at last prepared to move forward. Finding one's real calling and character development have been major themes this season. It was sweet to see Faith come to the realization that she might feel fulfilled without a sexual relationship. Rather, the show focused on motherhood for her. Faith must have known even more than to fear losing Lily that her life would never be the same, even while she understood that loving her would fill the void left by her loss. Faith would have thrilled at the chance to work with Fiona as a physician and practice medicine in Nashville at the start of the season. Even if it seemed pointless to her, she would no longer want to take Lily away from her beloved house. As Chris McNally hinted at earlier in the season, Lucas has had a lengthier and more difficult route. Even if we love him, it has been difficult to follow a political plot this season. Although he did a fantastic job acting the rich material, it almost feels like we're starting over. If I don't think I can trust my own judgment anymore, how can I be an effective governor? Lucas came to know who his real friends were, and they genuinely wanted the best for him. We would prefer that he receives full support for the new national parks plan in Hope Valley from the Coulters, Henry, and Bill. It was disturbing to learn that he wished to go back to Capital City, especially since he wanted Lee to go with him. But that wouldn't work because Lee had just been appointed mayor. Another cliffhanger that seemed forced and unnatural was presented to us. At first, it felt like progress to hear Nathan and Elizabeth talk about their relationship's fears when he moved to the area and admitted that Jack had replaced him during that training session. The whole scene seemed set up for that shocking turn of events when Superintendent Hargraves showed up and insisted on speaking with Elizabeth on fresh details surrounding Jack's demise. When Nathan was stationed at Fort Clay, Hargraves was his superior officer, and their relationship has never been cordial. He oversaw an internal investigation on a shooting that occurred while Nathan was watching in Season 8. It was also revealed that because he had been suspended for a previous offense years earlier, Jack had taken his place on the Fort Clay assignment. As Elizabeth and Nathan become further apart as a result of Superintendent Hargrave's arrival and his newfound knowledge of Nathan's past. That sounds harsh, whether you are on Team Nathan or not. After their long overdue serious chat about letting go of the past, what purpose does this provide for the viewer or the characters? Next up is Allie. Allie and Nathan resolved their differences. She didn't need to go through that again after her issues with her birth father, but it was when she was younger and she was frightened about losing him. The wedding was helpful, but the cliffhangers left us with a bad taste in our mouths. This season has been short and magic.